The JoLynn Braley Show, episode number 302, Survivor David versus Goliath. 3 things Natalie can teach you about permanent weight loss. Welcome back to the JoLynn Braley Show, or welcome. Hey, if this is your first time joining, that is totally awesome. Make sure that you subscribe if you want real talk on what is really required to lose weight and keep it off. I am JoLynn Braley, permanent weight loss coach, founder of the empowering, the kick-ass, the pretty gosh darn amazing Inner Self Diet. The diet that is not a diet, the diet that works every time, as long as, of course, you do it. Just listening to me talk about the Inner Self Diet, that's not the Inner Self Diet. This podcast isn't the Inner Self Diet. You actually got to get into it and do the steps. And if you do what my awesome coaching clients have done since I started this whole journey back in 2009, hey, you can get the results that they've gotten. And what they do is they end their food and weight struggles in 8 weeks or less by just simply following my proven step-by-step system. Just simply doing the steps per the instructions and keeping things simple. It's really quite amazing. It's not a food diet. It's not an exercise program. Instead, it addresses the real problem, and the real problem is what's going on inside of you. It's your mindset, it's your emotional set, it's your inner self programming, it's the stinking thinking that you keep running in your brain unconsciously or consciously. It's all of the stuff in your inner self that keeps sabotaging you and stopping you from doing what you already know you need to be doing to just live a healthy lifestyle, drop the fat, and keep it off. And that's the cool stuff I do with my awesome coaching clients in the Inner Self Diet. Hey, do you have my free ebook yet? You can learn just a little bit, tiny bit more, a tiny itty bitty 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 bit more about losing weight from the inside out. In my free ebook, you will get 3 simple steps to start making weight loss easier from the inside out. They are not food tips. They are not exercise tips. They are tips that are unexpected, and you need to start with your inner self if you're ever going to unravel your ongoing food obsessions, binge eating, yo-yo dieting, emotional eating, scale fear, food fear, body hate, body shame, fat hate, low self-esteem, low self-confidence, whatever the problems are that are driving you to abuse yourself with food, to use food as a crutch, to use food as your main coping skill in life. Guess what? Food is supposed to be fuel, and your human body needs to be fueled when your stomach is physically hungry. But besides that, you ain't supposed to be eaten, all right? And hey, you're not alone. You're not alone. There are millions upon millions upon millions who are struggling with this issue of overeating, obesity, overweight, binge eating, emotional eating, all of these problems that are keeping them and maybe you fat, frustrated, and fed up. If you're anything like my awesome coaching clients, you're really smart, you're successful professionally, and you have so much information about how to eat healthy and how to exercise, but you're unable to either get started or keep going or stay consistent. You're unable to do it as a lifestyle. You always end up hitting that emotional wall where you slam up against it and splat back, and you go right back to the food and right back into your old habits. And hey, you know, the brain actually makes it easy to do that until you reprogram it, until you heal your inner self. And then It's just not a big deal to live a healthy lifestyle. All right. There is no short-term fad diet out there that is ever going to give you permanent success with your weight. And now as I'm talking, I just realized I never told you where you could get my free ebook. Go ahead and get it at www.easyfunweightloss.com. www.easyfunweightloss.com. As you might be able to pick up, I'm pretty passionate about this topic of losing weight from the inside out, and the fact that your mindset is 92.8% of the challenge. I am a certified master NLP practitioner, certified master regular coach, certified law of attraction coach, certified master consciousness shifting coach, whole bunch of different things. And I put it all together and I coach my awesome clients through the proven steps that help them break free of their, I call it a muckmire, that is holding them in this battle that's only with themselves. And they love it. They love themselves. They feel good in their own skin once they can break free of that battle. And once you break free of that internal inner self struggle, then I think I might have said this before, but I repeat, because often people don't hear the first time, especially if you've been struggling since you were a child with these food and weight issues. And I've never met anybody who didn't first start struggling as a kid or a teen. That's where all this stuff starts. So mindset is 92.8% of the challenge. And once you heal your inner self, then it is no big deal to just live a healthy lifestyle and allow the fat to drop off and stay off. It's pretty freaking cool. Okay, so today I'm pretty excited about this episode because I've been a Survivor fan for many, many, many years. I didn't watch it when it first started, when, what was his name? The one that won, and I guess that he was walking around naked all the time. I didn't watch it back then. But I've been watching it for many years, and the main reason that I really like it is because of the psychology of it. And I like to see the psychological play, and it's all just very, very interesting. And this season right now, this is Survivor David versus Goliath, and I'm going to share with you 3 things that Natalie can teach you about permanent weight loss. And you know who I'm talking about if you watch Survivor. If you don't watch Survivor, you can still learn from this podcast, but you would learn more if you were watching the show. And it's only, let's see, last night it was just I think the 3rd episode. So if you wanted to, you could see if it's available on CBS.com, and you could watch the first 3 episodes if you wanted to do that. Otherwise, if you are a Survivor fan like I am, you already know what I'm talking about. Now, I want to preface this by saying, I don't know Natalie. I've never met the woman. I don't know her personally. I'm not saying that she's overweight, okay? For all I know, she's totally happy with her current weight. I have no idea. I don't know her. And personally, I think that it would be a great idea that if you were going to go on Survivor, that you'd want to put weight on, because you already know what the whole thing is about. And if you're going to be on the beach for the long haul, then having extra fat on your body, that would give your body something to feed off of. Now, I'm giving you this preface because using Natalie as an example of what she can teach you about permanent weight loss, this is not even about her weight. And you might understand when I share with you the 3 points that I'm going to share with you. But it's not about her personal body or her personal weight. And also, you got to remember, too, that Survivor, it's a show. And they have a cast in mind. It's similar to Big Brother, okay? But it's different. And I watch Big Brother also. I like the psychology. Are you starting to to get a theme here, okay? Because that's the same kind of work that I do. It's all about the mindset. It's all about the psychology. It's all about the inner workings, and that's why I find anything that has to do with that and the interaction, the social interaction, and the way that there are people who are very good at influencing others, and all these kinds of things, okay? It's all very, very interesting, and you can learn a lot if you are watching it with that frame of mind, okay? But what I was saying about having a cast, it's very possible that Natalie is she's the villain of this cast, and that's how she was set up by the Survivor producers. And all I know is what I'm seeing on the TV. I'm obviously not there, or all of these people, they'd be back by now, and they're not even on the beach anymore, of course. But all I know is what I see in the show, and that's all that anybody sees. And the producers edit the show in a certain way because they want to have a certain storyline. And it does appear that many people on the Goliath tribe do not care for Natalie. So that appears to be what's happening there, or happened there. But again, all I know is what I have seen. So with all of that being said, I'm going to share, based on that, 3 things that Natalie can teach you about permanent weight loss. Now, the first thing came from last week's episode, and it was last week's episode that inspired me to do this podcast here today on episode 302 of the JoLynn Braley Show. And the first thing is when Jeremy, okay, he's the lawyer. In fact, he just got voted out last night. But he had tried to talk to Natalie and give her the heads up that the tribe wasn't taking to her. And he was trying to have a conversation with her to say, hey, this is how you're being perceived, and this is how you're coming across. And she didn't want to hear any of it. She just very, very closed-minded, closed ears, and very single-minded. And she didn't want to hear his feedback, which is interesting because last night, what they showed at the tribal council, she was saying that she was very open to constructive criticism and open to feedback. But based on what we've seen, that doesn't look like that's true. And so when Jeremy was trying to talk to her and trying to help her modify her communication with the rest of the tribe, because what she had been doing up until that point was basically just giving orders to everyone. Like when they were building the shelter, she was standing off to the side and telling everybody what to do. Now, again, maybe she did help and we didn't see that. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know. All I know is what I'm seeing on the show and the way that it's being edited and what we're seeing. But based on what we're seeing, she was barking orders at the rest of the tribe members, or giving orders, and she wasn't helping build the shelter, and she always had something to say. But the rest of the tribe, who a lot of the other tribe members are younger than her, they weren't appreciating it. And so Jeremy was trying to help her. He was trying to give her an awareness, and she didn't want to have anything to do with it. And then they showed a separate interview with Jeremy when he said, now this is the first point. This is the first of my 3 things. He said, she's been married for 24 years, and that means that there's somebody out there that loves her exactly as she is. So she's not going to be making any changes whatsoever. That was the first thing that grabbed me, because it made me think of the folks out there, the women out there, who they say that they want to lose weight, but they're not doing anything about it. And they are not in any way open to hearing what is wrong, where they're off track. They do not have an open mind. And the problem is that when your mind is closed, well, you're pretty much stuck. Now, it's good if you are already just rocking it and just totally succeeding and you're hitting it out of the park with living a healthy lifestyle and eating only when you're physically hungry, stopping when you're physically full. If you're doing that, then that's great. You are on track. But if you are whining and complaining and blaming other people and having pity parties because you're so overweight or obese, but then you are not in any way open to doing something different, doing something radically different, doing something totally new, then how are you going to change? And if you're like Natalie and you have somebody in your corner who keeps telling you, "Oh, you're just fine. Oh, you're wonderful. You're beautiful just the way you are." Now, I'm not saying, I don't know that her husband is telling her these things. I'm just going by the comment that Jeremy made, which made me kind of chuckle when he said, well, she's been married for 24 years. That means that somebody loves her exactly as she is. So she's not going to be making any changes at all whatsoever. And if that's you, then, here's the bottom line. If you want something different, if you want to lose weight and keep it off, you're going to have to do something different. And if your mind is so closed to any new suggestions, then you're not going to change. And this is the first thing that Natalie can teach you about permanent weight loss. All right? Are you getting this? You see where I'm coming from? Is it making sense? Okay. So the second thing that Natalie can teach you about permanent weight loss is she's uncoachable. She's just plain uncoachable. And this was evident in the conversation that Jeremy had with her. She's unaware of how she comes across. She's unaware of how other people are perceiving her. She's unaware of the social feedback and the social dynamics within her tribe. And Survivor is all about socializing and communicating and getting along and making pacts and all these kinds of things. And if you're so off in your level of self-awareness that you can't even perceive the fact that you're rubbing everybody else the wrong way, that's a pretty big problem. And that's what Jeremy was trying to explain to her. I agree with him. She appears to be extremely unaware, very hard-headed, and thinking that, everything she's doing is just totally spot on and other people don't have a problem with her. And this is just showing how uncoachable she really is. And what does this have to do with permanent weight loss? Well, the fastest path to ending your food and weight struggles is to get coaching with the right coach. And if you're uncoachable, first of all, a coach isn't even going to take you on. That's one of the reasons that there is no way to work with me personally and privately without having a phone conversation with me first, because there are people who are just simply uncoachable. And it doesn't mean that they're always going to be uncoachable, but if they're not coachable now, then who can help them? Really? They have to be willing to open their mind and be willing to do different things, and also be totally willing to be 100% badass honest with themselves. None of us are perfect. Nobody is perfect. But if you shut your mind and you put yourself on a rock where you are so closed to coaching and help and professional assistance to end your eating disorders, to stop abusing yourself with food, to get what you want, to actually get the results that you keep saying you want. If you're not willing to do what it takes to get the results that you want, how are you going to get the results that you want? Now, could you get permanent weight loss without coaching? I don't know. I don't know. I personally have not met anybody who has succeeded in that without any help, because none of us can see our own blind spots. Now, if you want to invest the time, invest another 10, 15, 20 years or so working on yourself and, just, I don't know, buying books or something and seeing how far you can get and trying to piece things together on your own. Yeah, there are people that do that, but I've actually talked to some folks, some women who were in their 70s and pushing 80s, and they'd been struggling since childhood with food and weight battles. And they had never allowed anyone to help them. They'd never gotten coaching. They'd never gotten the get real feedback that they needed. And so they're still in this battle. So, it all comes down to what you want and what you're willing to do. But if you keep your mind shut, and if you're not willing to raise your level of self-awareness, if you're not willing to be coached so that you can get out from behind your blind spots as quickly as possible and actually succeed, then how are you going to do it? I don't know how far Natalie is going to go on this show. Now, it's possible that, again, all of this is edited. Who knows? I mean, wouldn't it be funny if they've set up the way that they've edited it and she ends up winning in the end, but they started out making it look like, she's going to get voted off and all of this. But if she's going to stay, she's going to have to adjust, because in Survivor, they're just looking for somebody that they can say, oh, this is why they need to be voted off, And she's not pitching in. She is combative, and she's barking orders at other people. And, that's pretty simple for saying why they'd want to vote her out. Now, last night they voted out Jeremy instead, with the thinking that it would be better to get him out first because he was really good at communicating. And they were saying, well, we can always get Natalie out because we already want her out, but let's blindside Jeremy. And, people liked him, but they voted him out. Okay, so what's the third thing that Natalie can teach you about permanent weight loss? All right, so she's very decisive, and she's very hard-headed, and she's got her mind closed. Now, a way to look at this, though, is if you were to become as single-minded as she is, and if you were to make the decision to do whatever it takes to achieve permanent weight loss, and you had you made the decision to achieve permanent weight loss, and you're willing to do whatever it takes. You're willing to learn how to do things totally differently, and you're willing to learn how to reprogram your inner self. You're willing to do the work to heal your inner self. You're willing to get real feedback from the right coach. You're willing to get coaching. If you were to make the decision to do whatever it takes to achieve permanent weight loss, and then you were to remain single-minded about that decision, no wavering, no self-doubt, just like Natalie is showing that she definitely is not doubting herself, okay? She is not doubting herself, and she is very decisive, which you have to be in order to succeed in anything. And that is why she's on the Goliath tribe, is because she's very successful in business. Okay, so she came into this and she has I'd have to go back and watch episode 1 again, or you could look up the cast on CBS.com to read her bio. But it's either a publishing company. She's very successful in business. And in order to be very successful in business, you have to be decisive. But you also have to be decisive to achieve permanent weight loss. All right? When you keep hemming and hawing and you keep telling yourself you're going to start again on Monday and you do that 52 times a year, and you keep thinking about changing yourself, or you keep hoping and praying, none of that stuff is what decisive behavior is about. You got to make a firm decision, and you've got to be willing to do whatever it takes to achieve success. Now, clearly, because Natalie has achieved success in her business life, she has been willing to do whatever it takes to do that in her business life. And so what you can learn from her here in this third point is that you have to be just as decisive, and then get single-minded, no doubting yourself, no wavering, no second guessing. Oh, I don't know, maybe I don't deserve to be thin. Maybe so-and-so won't like me if I change my eating because they, hang out with me all the time and we're used to binging every Friday night over at TGI Fridays. That's not being decisive. You have to make a very firm decision and then move forward with action, of course. Nothing's going to change unless you take action, and you've got to have an action plan for getting a weight loss mindset. That's 92.8% of the challenge. If you are not taking daily action to change your mindset, to reprogram your inner self programming, to heal the muckmire that you've been dragging around in a sack on your back for all these years, okay? If you're not willing to get a weight loss mindset and make weight loss struggle-free so that you can live a healthy lifestyle, not a short-term diet, but a healthy lifestyle, to drop the fat and keep it off. If you're not willing to do these things and get badass committed, then you haven't made the firm decision, and things aren't going to change until you decide to do that. And by the way, you cannot get out of making a decision if you tell yourself, oh, well, I'll think about it. You've just decided to keep doing what you're doing. You cannot get out of making a decision. Oh, well, maybe someday I'll, maybe someday I'll get coaching, or maybe someday later I'll wait until New Year's, make a resolution. Well, then what you just decided to do is to keep struggling. Okay, you can't get out of making a decision. So this is a really cool thing that Natalie can teach you about permanent weight loss, is if you were to have such a hard-headedness and single-minded focus on doing whatever the heck it takes to get a weight loss mindset, to make weight loss struggle-free, to do it as quickly as possible. When I work with my coaching clients, they can do it in 8 weeks or less. They just have to follow my steps, follow the instructions, get it done. But if you were if you could put her head on you, and your focus and decision and commitment would be getting this weight loss mindset and ending this struggle and getting to your healthiest, fittest weight and just maintaining that the rest of your life, living a healthy lifestyle, then you would absolutely be able to do it if you had her strength of focus and determination and unwaveringness. Okay? You can't be doubting yourself. You can't be wondering or worrying or being impatient and all of that. So those are 3 things that Natalie can teach you about permanent weight loss. And it's going to be interesting to see, what is going to happen here on Survivor David versus Goliath. And, yeah, hey, if you want to leave me a comment, if you are a Survivor fan, head on over to my Facebook page, facebook.com/JoLynn Braley. Click like to like the page, and then you can leave me a comment there and tell me if you also watch Survivor, and tell me what your biggest aha is that you've gotten out of this episode here. In fact, what would be the ultimate is if you subscribe to the JoLynn Braley Show for free in iTunes. Give the show a rating. I believe this is a 5-star show because this is not just your normal eat this, don't eat that, do this kind of exercise, do these kinds of crunches. You can get that information anywhere. I'm talking about the real deal. The only reason that you have not achieved permanent weight loss is it's all about your inner self. That's 92.8% of it. If you were to become the you on the inside who would match the body that you keep telling yourself you want on the outside, then there'd be no problem. But you got to do that inner work, and there's no magic for it. You have to do things differently and move forward step by step by step. All you can do is start where you are, and then you move forward step by step by step by step. You're not going to change magically overnight. That would be very uncomfortable if you could do that anyway. And you move forward, and then, over time, it's like you look back and you say, oh my God, what happened? And I haven't even been binge eating. I haven't been emotionally eating. And when did I stop doing that? But that's how it works with my clients in the Inner Self Diet. But all you can do is start where you are. Things do not change overnight, and you can't make a quantum leap from the struggle into freedom. It just doesn't work like that. And it's good that it doesn't work like that because it would be very overwhelming. It's time for a commercial break here on the JoLynn Braley Show. This week's sponsor of the JoLynn Braley Show is my free ebook. Get it now. Go get it at www.easyfunweightloss.com, www.easyfunweightloss.com. And in it, you'll get 3 simple steps to start making weight loss easier from the inside out. There are 3 steps your mama never taught you about how to lose weight and keep it off. And you can get that now at www.easyfunweightloss.com. Couple questions to ask yourself on each episode of the JoLynn Braley Show. I suggest you get pen and paper and write each question down that I give you. These are questions you're asking yourself, and then write your answer down, pen on paper. Why? Well, do you want to get as much out of this podcast, this totally free weight loss podcast, as possible? Obviously, this is not coaching because two-way communication is required for coaching, and I have absolutely no idea who you are. If we were to pass each other on the street, I would not know that you listen to my podcast. Have no idea. So I have no idea what your specific personal challenges are, and therefore this free weight loss podcast is not coaching. What you can do, though, is you can get pen and paper, and you can get out of your head, stop spinning with all the information and the anxiety and the upset and the fears, the fat fears, fat, F-A-T, fear attracting thoughts. That's what a fat mindset is. It's a mindset grounded in fear attracting thoughts, F-A-T. Get out of that. Get focused with yourself for just a couple minutes. That's what happens when you put pen on paper with yourself. You will never learn by only listening to me. Tony Robbins says it. I totally agree with him. He says you will never learn by listening alone. It just doesn't happen. It goes in one ear and out the other. And you also will not get that connection with yourself. You will not get the connection between head, hand, and heart when you type on a keyboard. You got to get a piece of paper and a pen. Oh my God, it's so archaic, isn't it? Well, you don't have to do it, but just don't expect to get the most out of this free weight loss podcast. It's all up to you. It's your life, and you get to take full personal responsibility for your choices that you make for yourself in your life. That's nobody else's responsibility except yours. All right, so first question. What are my 3 biggest ahas that I got out of this podcast today? What are my 3 biggest ahas that I got out of this podcast today? And just pause the podcast as you need time to write, your answers. You don't have to rush yourself. Number 2 question. In what ways do I see myself in Natalie's example, in her behaviors? In what ways do I see myself in Natalie's behaviors and the example that JoLynn has been talking about here today? Number 3 question. Based on what I've heard today and how I identify with the same things that Natalie is doing by being very closed-minded, by, she's very decisive and I'm not decisive. Whatever it is that you personally are getting out of this podcast today. Okay, what are all the ways that I am holding myself back from achieving permanent weight loss? That's the question, but based on what you've learned here. Well, and it could be what you've learned other places too. Hey, if you regularly listen to my podcast, this could encompass other podcast episodes too. The question, number 3 question, what are all the ways that I'm stopping myself from achieving permanent weight loss? What are all the ways that I'm stopping myself from achieving permanent weight loss? And then you want to look at the list that you make, because if it's all about food, you're missing the boat. 92.8% of it is mindset. It's what's going on inside of you. What are all of the ways that I'm stopping myself from achieving permanent weight loss? Number 4 question, what is my proven daily action plan for getting a weight loss mindset? What is my proven daily action plan for getting a weight loss mindset? Number 5 question, am I being 100% consistent with this proven daily action plan to get a weight loss mindset? Am I sticking with it every day? Have I done it for a minimum of 30 days? All right. And then you keep going, you do it. You don't stop with 30 days. If you've been struggling for a lifetime, 10, 20, 30, 40 or more years with this stuff, 30 days is, you can definitely get a shift in 30 days if you've got a solid, winning, proven system to work with daily to get a weight loss mindset. You can have a shift after 30 days, but you don't want to stop there. Okay, does this make sense? Are you getting it? Anybody who's highly successful, they know the critical importance of repetition. This society today is all about the magic pill, the one and done. Well, guess what? You're not going to get permanent weight loss with a magic pill or one and done. It's not going to happen because 92.8% of it is your inner world, and you're not going to transform all that stuff overnight. You can transform it. You just got to be willing to do it. And it doesn't have to be a system of really hard steps, but you want to make sure that the proven system that you're working with to get a weight loss mindset, that the steps work. But then you also have to stay consistent. You got to do them. Now, if you don't have a winning proven system that you're working with daily, then the number 6 question is, why not? Why not? Why don't I have a daily action plan for getting a weight loss mindset that I'm taking daily action with no matter what? What gives? Number 7 question, who's my coach? Who's my coach in my corner who believes in me when I don't believe in myself? Who's my coach in my corner who's helping me stay accountable? Who's my coach in my corner who is willing to help me get real with myself? Okay? She's courageous enough to tell me the truth because she's not willing to enable me to keep making excuses and keep lying to myself. Who's my coach? And if you don't have a coach, then the number 8 question is, why not? Write down all of the negative thoughts that you think that are stopping you from getting the coaching that you need. Everybody on the planet needs coaching. Everybody needs coaching. Not everybody needs permanent weight loss coaching. Some people, they don't have a problem with their weight, but they've got a problem with relationships. Okay, so they need relationship coaching. Not everybody has a problem with their weight, but some people need business coaching. Okay, so it depends on the specific issue that is plaguing you, right? You want to make sure you're working with a coach who is specialized, who can help you get what you want in the least amount of time possible, unless you don't want to break free in the least amount of time possible. Hey, it's all your choice. You are the only one who can decide for you where you are going to be a year from now, and what determines how you're going to look, what you're going to weigh, how you're going to be feeling about yourself, all that good stuff. What determines that is the decision that you make now to move forward with your next step. Because if your decision is to just keep doing what you've always done, then how you know where you'll be a year from now is just look at your past. Just look at your past results, and that'll tell you where you're headed if you're just going to keep doing what you've always done. In order to be in a different place, you've got to do something different. And usually you got to do something radically different. Hey, I got to tell you something here before I wrap up this podcast. This is really cool. I have often talked on the JoLynn Braley Show about the fact that you have to move out of your comfort zone in order to achieve permanent weight loss. Because your comfort zone is where you're comfortable binge eating, emotional eating, stress eating, using food for comfort, obsessing about food, feeling anxious about food, about your weight gain, all that stuff. That's your comfort zone. How the heck are you going to get permanent weight loss in your comfort zone? You're not. So what I wanted to share with you is I came across this quote today that I had never seen before, and I love it. It goes like this: a comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. A comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. And it's by unknown. We don't know who said it. But I came across that today, and I love it. Love it! Because it's so perfect. You're never going to get new results by staying in your comfort zone, by hiding behind the fat, by staying stuck, by continuing to feel bad about yourself and have pity parties. Hey, I've been there before. I've done all of it, most of it. I mean, some things I haven't done. I have never been anorexic. I've never been a binge purger. I've never done that kind of stuff. But I've definitely struggled with food addiction, food obsession, binge eating, emotional eating, overweight, all that, the kit and caboodle, the fat mindset, the pity parties, the wah, and the instant gratification, all that BS that only keeps you frustrated, fat, and fed up when you know better. But knowing is not the same as doing. And actually, that's a number one sign that you do not have a weight loss mindset. When you know exactly what you could be doing to live a healthy lifestyle, to drop the fat and keep it off, but you're not doing it. That's the number one glaring sign that you've got a mindset problem. Yeah, buddy. Hey, I think I mentioned a couple times that you can go grab my free ebook if you want that. Learn just a tiny little bit more about losing weight from the inside out. Get it now at www.easyfunweightloss.com. Next week's episode of the JoLynn Braley Show. That is going to be episode number 303 of the JoLynn Braley Show. And the topic is going to be how to tell the difference between physical and emotional hunger. How to tell the difference between physical and emotional hunger. Oh, hey, by the way, if you actually want help, if you want the fast track, if you want to end your food and weight struggles in 8 weeks or less, if you want to stop asking yourself, why am I so smart and successful and I know exactly what I need to be doing to lose weight and keep it off, but I'm not doing it, then your first step is to go to www.discovery-session.com and complete an application for a complimentary one-on-one weight loss discovery session with me. Go to www.discovery-session.com. If you are a really cool peep, if you are awesome, but you don't know how to do this stuff to break free of your struggle, to reprogram your inner self, to get new inner self programming, to get a weight loss mindset, to make weight loss struggle free, and you really, really, really want to do it. You're smart, you're successful professionally, you know exactly what you could be doing to lose weight and keep it off, but you're not doing it. So head on over to www.discovery-session.com if you are really serious about breaking free of this muckmire as quickly as possible. Thanks so much for tuning in today. This is JoLynn Braley, permanent weight loss coach, founder of the kick-ass, amazing Inner Self Diet, the diet that always works, as long as you do it, of course. And I am also a Survivor fan. I wish you your best life, living inside of your ideal body.